Hello, welcome again to another screencast edition of Autodesk Maya. Today we'll be focusing on the aspect of animating our bipedal humanoid character. Now, since we already have finished the whole painting the weights of our character, the next step is pretty much um, beginning to animate. So, with animation, it's a little bit more complex with a bipedal human or humanoid character. So, you have to take consideration that there's a lot more complexity on regards to the joints. So, as a reminder, if we go to into our website, um, which directly to FlubyNewbie.com, provides you the PDF of the Animator Survival Kit. Richard Williams goes into detail and depth in regards to the breakdown of the contact within the movement to the legs, to the body, and so on and so forth. Basically, there's a whole lot of detailed mechanics in regards to the movement of the body. It's just not just moving forward, but there's also thrusting, there's also twisting the body just to move on each and opposite sides. So if the right foot is moving forward, the opposite of the left arm will be moving forward too. It'll be swinging forward to meet within. He stated that basically when it comes to movement of the body, that the arms and legs varies in motion on each of its opposite sides. So I call this the X factor. So basically, you have a curve on one side and to the other. I could go on and so forth, but go to the materials section of iTunes U, go to the website, gives you details if you want to begin animating. So now we're going to move into our animation. Make sure you have set up a stage and a wall to set up our stage. Make sure you also create a new layer. Easily doing this by going to layers, create empty layer. Once you have that, what you're gonna do is double click and rename this flooring. So once you have that, great. So select your stage and your wall. Once you have that, right click and add selected objects. Once you have that, make sure you set to this button right here to render. So that means that it's already set. Nothing can be selected except for your character. Now, make sure you have your character positioned within the farthest end of your grid and make sure you resize it. Resize your grid here to the very beginning of the grid and make sure you have your camera positioned to the very beginning here. We're going to begin the animation, then we're going to break down the process of setting up a camera to make sure it's in a stationary position. So, on to animation. I'm going to go a little bit in depth with this, and not too much because, again, the mechanics in itself is very complex. So, if I could show one movement, then I could just move further to the next. So, it gets repetitive. Okay, onwards. Make sure you're set to frame 0. Your max should be set to 350. So once you have that, I'm going to start off with movement of one of my legs right here, my foot controllers. So I could either use the right or left. I'm going to step from the right here. I'm going to move it forward to my Z axis right here. And once I have that, I could either Shift W or what I could do is pretty much select translate X, Y, and Z and right click and select key selected. Now I already done this. So once we have that, that's great. I'm going to start moving my root control here, move it forward to this, just like that, right here. Again, make sure you select all of this, select key, or you could use Shift W, Shift E, Shift R, whichever is accessible for you. For me, it's a little bit easier just to key the selection right here. I'm going to do the same thing here. Oops. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. What I'm going to do is reset this back. Before I can even animate, you need to actually key the frames, key all the frames to its stationary settings. So what I'm going to do, again, let me key this, there. So this is my stationary set. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down to the increments of 5 right here. Makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to use my time slider and just click on one of the boxes to zoom into this. Now I'm going to go into 5 right here. Now I'm going to select my foot control and pretty much key them all here. Reason why we need to key them all, because if you don't, if you do a certain rotation, then it's going to freak out if you don't. So at least we keyed that section. Now we have that. I'm going to move my root to right here. Key selected. There. Now, I'm going to use my foot roll control right here that is set up to here. So I'm going to go back to 0. Key selected. Go to frame 5. And set this up to -1. Select them, key selected. I'm going to do the same thing here. Again, go back to 0. Actually, we just need only Y, so we'll key the selected here. Now go to this. We don't want to hyperextend. So we'll just slightly move this. So 0.3, 3.6, whichever is accessible for you. And what we're going to do, key selected. Now that we have that, I'm going to readjust this ever so slightly. Just give enough space. Key selected. Go back to the root. Adjust this. So now there's the first movement here. So I'm going to rekey this here. Key selected. So when we move this, this is the first contact. And to initiate the motion, power of motion. Now, once we have that, I'm going to go back to here. Let's see. I'm going to key this again back to 0. Selected. And we're going to remain onto that. Now that we have that, get back to 0 here. Key selected. Now this one's going to be a little bit different because we're moving up to here. So I'm going to highlight this, key selected. Now, this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my controller like this as such and begin rotation of the movement of my body, of my character's body. Here you go. Movement of the body here and adjust it so it's forward. And what we're going to do, we have it set up just like this. Now, what I'm going to do is reselect all of these. Key selected. Actually, I don't really need to scale this. So what I'll do is lock and hide selected. So all I need is translate and rotation. So, whoa, see what I mean? So if I don't initiate the first. Here we go. So since I didn't do this, I'm going to have to go back. And there we go. I'm going to rekey this here, the L foot. Key selected. I'm going to hide this here. Lock and hide selected. I'm going to do this again. Rekey it. Key selected. Now on 10. This is where I will move it up and rotate. Key selected. Now, when we play this again, so let's go to frame 5. I'm going to refix my root control here. Set it up. My translation Y. Here we go. Because she's going up, so remember, up. Go to 15. Go to my left. Zoom it out. Let me fix my rotations back to 0 here. 0 there. I'm going to reselect this and key it here. Right now, even though it's overstretched and sort of overextended, don't worry. You rather have this way where at least there's the movement to sort of set it and guide through here. Now, we got this, translate, key selected. I'm gonna rotate here. Set ever so slightly here. Now, I'm gonna go to my other foot roll controller on the right side. Let's see, 0, 0, 0. And just slightly lift it this way. Then pretty much key selected. Now, do be careful to avoid hyperextension. You'll see like a pop of your legs. So don't forget to have your root control set a little bit down as you're stepping onto the contact of your other foot. Key this. So once I have that, I'm going to key it again. So when we play it, I want to replay it here. And we could sort of isolate the area. So we'll stop at 20. So you could see. Now, right now, because it's going a little bit fast, you could work onto that. Now it looks okay here, but we need to do more. Now this time we're gonna go to our pelvic girdle again. Since we're making the first contact of movement here, we are using rotation. So again, I'm gonna select all, key select it, go to here. So that means I'm gonna have to rotate on Y on the opposite end and tilt ever so slightly. But she's taken a step forward. So that means we're going to key select it to here. So we're going to make this movement to here. Now what we're going to do is go back to here. Move this here. And we're going to sort of tilt it to the other side. Once we have that, again, we're going to move forward to this. Let's see, so that means back to straight point. There we go. So when I play it back, now all the figures have been moved. Now, once I hit to here, I'm going to rotate this. Or I'm shifting my weight to this way. Again, make it subtle, but not too much. So we'll stop to here. I'll probably adjust my root. And we don't want it to have it too extreme of a lift unless you're doing like an attitude walk of some sort. There. Here we go. I'm gonna fix my rotations here. Fix my Y. Again, stand up straight. There. So I'm going to key this. Don't forget to key your stuff. Here, I'm going to move this slightly back. Not too much. Right here. Key selected. I'm going to go back here on my foot roll here. And rotate back. Key selected there. Now, that's just the first part of the bottom of the lower extremities. Now we're going to go to the top part. So I want you to use your twist feature to your character. So again, the body's going to move, your torso is going to move side to side. Now, don't forget, key selection right here, and go back to 5. So that means I'm going to slightly twist my character, ever so, right here. And go to 10, put in my values of 0 because I'm going back to my stationary normal. Then on 15, I am going to move this way on my rotation of Y. Now, when we play this back, so you could see a subtle movement. Now it's starting to begin something more lifelike. Now, once we hit to 15, we're going to go back and zoom in a little bit. And we're going to hit over to our neck. Again, with the neck, we have to keep it somewhat the illusion of it being stationary because you're facing forward unless your character is turning to look at something. Now, I'm going to key the selected here, go to 5, because since the body is twisted and curled, I need to move it into the proper motion to where it's facing forward. Now, she's looking a little bit, a few 34 degrees to here. So once I have that, I'm going to key it. Then I'm going to go to 10. Again, rotate this. Again, key it. And 15. Again, right here. There we go. Her head slightly tilted. We still want to keep it straight and stationary. Because again, your head doesn't twist in side to side. You start to get whiplash. Now, when I play this back, from here, the front view, it's starting to look like something here. There. Now, we have that in mind. So the next step, we're going to use your shoulders. Now this is going to be a little bit complicated again because you have to rotate it in a manner where pretty much there's going to be a lot of rotation. So again, right here, twist it to here, push it back, outward. Not too much. You don't want to have too much extreme. We hit this here on the Y. So I got this. I'm going to rekey it. Key the selection. still have some subtlety right here. Because again, your arm's going to swing. It's just not your arm, your elbow, your wrist are going to swing side to side. So you're pivoting your arms as such. So once you have that, and we hit to 15, push forward to begin. So I rotated a little bit on the X value and moved it to the Y, key selected, do like that. So when I play this back, there. Same thing goes for here, your elbow. On your elbow control, key it, and hit to 5. Key it here, 10. Again, you're sort of relaxing. And hit it to 15. Keyframe 15. Move it from the Y axis. Key it. So you have a slight swing here. Now, we're going to do the same thing for the wrist. There we go. So again keying it. 5. I'm going to swing back to this. 10. Key selected. Just want to play this back. Hit to 15. To here and key selected. Now when I play this back on my side view, here. So we've got that there. You'll also do animations to the clavicle, but you're going to just rotate from the Z and Y axes. Again, let's see, let's click back to here. Let me actually hide these. Lock and height selected. There we go. Your clavicle moves when you're shifting your weight onto opposite ends. So again, right here, we've got that set up. Then key it here. I'm going to lower it to there. Now we go to 10. I'm going to sort of slightly adjust to key it to here. And 15. Just forward like that. Key selected. Now you may have to readjust your elbows, your shoulders. Of course, since depending the painted weights and the way your character was modeled. So I'm going to select my shoulder here. Onto here. I don't want it too extreme on the Z axis. Key selected. It's on frame 10 that needs. shift the weight to here. Now, once we have that, key it. Even the fingers have a certain distinct movement. So we're going to hide these here. Lock and hide selected. There. So the only thing we have to deal with is translation. Now, again, we are going to key this. Select it here. Go to 5. Key it. 10. Key it. There you go. And 15. So there's a certain distinct movement. Your character. There we go. So when I play this, pardon if it lags. It starts to move properly. Now, I'm not going to animate my other side of the hand because pretty much it's the same principle here and there. But other than that, same principle as when you're animating to the other foot and so back and forth, back and forth. But this pretty much concludes today's tutorial in regards to animation game design for Autodesk Maya. If you have any questions, concerns, go look up on the PDF of the Animator Survival Kit to help you out. Thank you again for another screencast tutorial of Autodesk Maya.